Imagine you're sitting in a village. There are 148 other people around you. You know every single one of them. You know who's trustworthy, who's dangerous, who's struggling. You know which children belong to which parents. You know the history of every argument, every alliance, every debt owed and favor given. You know the names of the elderly woman who lives at the edge of camp and the teenage boy who keeps stealing more food than his share. You know everyone, and everyone knows you. This is the world your brain was built for. Now open Instagram. 3 billion strangers, all performing, all competing for your attention at once, all triggering the same social circuits your brain evolved to manage a group of 148. Your brain is still sitting in that village. It just doesn't know the village disappeared. And that single fact, that your brain is running social software roughly 200,000 years out of date, explains more about modern life than almost anything else scientists have ever discovered. Let's start with the man who found the number. In the late 1980s, a British anthropologist named Robin Dunbar was studying primates. He was trying to figure out why different species had different sized brains, and he noticed something that didn't make immediate sense. The size of a primate's neocortex, the outer layer of the brain responsible for complex thought and social processing, didn't correlate with how big their body was or how complex their environment was. It correlated with how big their social group was. Your brain didn't get this memo about the modern world. Because here's what that cognitive limit actually means in practice. Your brain has a finite amount of social processing power. Think of it like RAM on a computer. You only have so much of it. And your brain is constantly automatically running background processes on every person inside your circle. Where do I stand with this person? Are they a threat or an ally? Do I owe them something? Can I trust them? For the 150 people your brain considers your real tribe, these processes run constantly, invisibly, consuming enormous amounts of cognitive energy. Now here's where it gets uncomfortable. When your brain encounters a stranger, it doesn't turn those processes off. It runs them anyway. Every person you pass on the street, every profile you scroll past, every face in a crowd of thousands, your brain is attempting on some level to process them the way it would process a tribesman. It's trying to file them somewhere. It's asking threat or ally, known or unknown. And when it can't answer, when the stranger stays a stranger, it generates low-level anxiety. Not panic, just a quiet, persistent hum of social unease that never fully goes away. That hum is what millions of people now call normal life. But it gets stranger than that. Because Dunbar didn't just find one number, he found a series of them, nested layers of social connection, each one roughly 3 times larger than the last. The innermost circle, about 5 people, your core support group, the ones you'd call at 3 a.m., the ones whose loss would genuinely break you. The next layer, about 15, close friends, people you trust deeply, see regularly, feel real loyalty to. Then 50, then 150, and beyond 150, something shifts. From 150 to about 500, you have acquaintances. People you recognize and can work with but don't truly know. From 500 to 1,500, you have faces. People you can put a name to but little more. Beyond 1,500, every person is essentially a stranger. Your brain has no dedicated processing for them at all. They are background noise. Now think about what social media actually is. It's a technology that takes the 1,500 person outer limit of human social recognition and blows it open to 3 billion. It takes the 5-person inner circle of deep emotional connection and simulates it with likes and comments from people your brain has correctly categorized as strangers. And your brain, ancient, literal, unable to distinguish between a face on a screen and a face across a fire, responds to all of it as if it were real. As if those strangers are tribespeople, as if their opinions matter to your survival. Because for 200,000 years, they did. A bad reputation in a tribe of 150 didn't just hurt your feelings, it got you excluded. And in the ancient world, exclusion meant death, so your brain evolved to treat social judgment as a matter of life and death. It evolved to monitor your reputation constantly, to feel the sting of public criticism as a physical threat, to crave social approval the way it craves food and water. That system is still running, full power, all the time, pointed directly at the internet. And here's the part that should genuinely unsettle you. The people who built these platforms understood this, not in a vague, intuitive way, in a precise, documented, deeply researched way. The variable reward schedules, the public like counts, the follower numbers, the comment notifications, every single one of these features was specifically engineered to hijack the social instincts your brain evolved for a tribe of 150 people. They took the most ancient, powerful wiring in your brain, the wiring that kept your ancestors alive, and they pointed it at a slot machine, and then they gave it to you for free, in exchange for your attention, every single day. But here's what Dunbar himself said about all of this, and this is the part almost nobody talks about. He wasn't pessimistic. He was precise. He argued that the 150-person limit isn't a ceiling on human connection. It's a description of how human connection actually works. You can have 10,000 followers. You can have 1,000,000, but your brain will find 150 of them and quietly treat those 150 as real. The rest will remain strangers. No matter how many times you've seen their face, no matter how many of their posts you've liked, the brain doesn't count interactions, it counts investment. It counts shared history, mutual vulnerability, time spent, and trust built slowly over years. And none of that scales. None of it can be hacked or optimized or delivered through a screen in a format that goes down easier than the real thing. The village isn't gone because the world got bigger. The village is still exactly the same size it has always been. You just forgot to notice who's actually in it. Because here's the question that sits underneath all of this. If your brain is only capable of truly knowing 150 people, and if most of modern life is designed to make you feel like you need the approval of millions, then what are you actually spending your life on? How much of your anxiety, your loneliness, your constant low-grade feeling that something is missing? How much of that is just the gap between the world your brain was built for and the world it actually woke up in this morning? Dunbar spent decades studying this number. He watched it appear across history, across cultures, across species, and his conclusion was not that humans are broken. It was that humans are extraordinarily well designed for a world that no longer exists. The tribe is still there, it's still exactly 150 people, it's still built on trust and history and showing up. It's just harder to find now, because we buried it under 3 billion strangers and called that connection, and most of us never stopped to ask what we actually lost.